Hi everyone, and welcome to my IGTV channel. Some of you know that I've been having some issues with foundation, especially on my nose area, and I'm not the only one who seems to have this problem lately. What's going on? In order to get perfect foundation, you really have to find the perfect primer, but you can't just use one because one primer isn't going to do the job of everything that you need. So today I'm going to show you my primer and foundation routine, and I swear it has been keeping my makeup on all day long. I've been sleeping, napping on this stuff. Let me show you the 3 primers that I'm going to be using. So first of all, I'm going to start with the spray primer, and I'm going to prime my whole entire face with the spray primer. With a spray primer, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get in all those little cracks and crevices. So what I do is, while it's still wet, I just kind of pat with my finger in those areas that might be a little difficult. I'm going to go in with the Catrice Prime and Fine Instant Line Smoother. Spread it around. Then I'm going to start pressing it in. So once I've done that, then I'm going to pat it in, packing in those pores and fine lines. This Instant Line Smoother really does do the job. I'm moving in with that pore killer. I'm going to start putting this in those other areas where I don't have the fine line primer on. I actually will go back over into some of those really troubled areas. So I tend to go over that maybe twice so that it's getting the extra coverage. I am making sure that not only is this, filling my pores, but it's also giving me a smooth canvas to put my foundation on everywhere. When you're putting on primer, you want to make sure that you get everywhere you're going to be putting that foundation on. The primers that you use are going to be different depending on what your needs are, what your skin type is like, what foundation you're going to be using is also important. So whatever I'm using here today may not work for you, but the process will work, the system will work, but you have to get the right primers that suit you and your skin needs. I think one of the biggest problems that we find in the YouTube beauty world is that we don't actually see the processes that they go through after they put all those products on. They don't tell us what they do. They just skip from one thing to another and don't really tell us what goes on in between. So then when we try to copy that YouTube beauty guru expertise, we ask ourselves, why isn't this working right? Why don't I look like them? Stephanie Lang recently did a very good video exposing the truth behind YouTube beauty videos. Whether you are a YouTube beauty person that's just trying to get into the niche, or if you are just an average everyday woman who is trying to look for beauty advice, you really should watch her video. That's why I always tell you step for step what I'm doing. I tell you, I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna let this sit on my face. One thing I didn't tell you that I wanna tell you is that before I started, I actually put on my Argan Beauty Moisturizer, and I put it all around except for on my eyes where I put the CeraVe eye cream on. So I let that sit on my face so that my face could absorb all of that great product, all of the vitamins, all of the essential oils, all of the things that my face needs before I start applying all of the other products. So that's why we take this time to let the primers just absorb into our face, to dry, because if we start putting product on top of that, the primer would start moving and start kind of meshing with the foundation, and we don't really want that to happen. Now, many of you know that I have come up with a Tati Westbrook dupe. This is actually just a stamp block to mix foundations. This is Maybelline 24 Hour and Maybelline Age Rewind. I've been using this combination for the past few days, and I have to tell you that my foundation has been just so wonderful. So here I've put on the Age Rewind. This is a dampened sponge, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use that. I'm not going too light, I'm not going too hard. I'm just really kind of giving it some medium pressure. Remember, we've been talking about the situation with the nose. And so I'm taking the very tip of this sponge and I'm very lightly applying it to my nose, because I really don't want to start moving any more of the foundation that I'm putting on already. Now, to get in those tiny little crevices in between your nose, I take this tiny little sponge and I dampen it as well, and I put a little bit, just a tiny little bit of the foundation in those spots. There you go. So now that I have my foundation on and it's still wet, I'm actually going to put on my powder. I want to do this while it's still a little bit damp, and I'm going to use the other side of my damp sponge. And the reason for that is because the powder now is going to really adhere to the foundation at this point. And then I'm just going to start patting it on top of the foundation while it's still a little bit damp, because now these two, we do want these two to kind of mesh together. I'm not a baker in real life. My husband's the baker, I'm the cook. I don't bake my face anymore, and the reason for that is that I found that it gets really blotchy and dries my face out. I put foundation on my eyes and then I cover with powder. Now, if you were to look at my face right now, it looks really cakey, and I don't want that cakey look. I really just want this clean look. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this, and then I'm going to proceed with the rest of my makeup. This is actually a setting spray. I'm going to have you take a closer look now at what my makeup looks like. It's very set. It almost looks like I'm plastic, like really, but everything is set in place to now put on everything else. I have really set the canvas for everything else to come. So let's take a look at the finished product. Here's my finished look. I'm going to finish it off with e.l.f. translucent finishing powder. Now, once I put on my setting powder, I am going to set this again with my setting spray. So here's the finished look. Remember, using multiple primers is probably the best way to go if you want your foundation to really adhere to your face and not to budge and pull. So what you want to do is just to make sure that you get the primers that are right for you, and use one primer to spray at the beginning, and then set all your other primers in those places that you need. Then make sure to set your foundation and powder with a setting spray before you continue on with the rest of your makeup. And then once you have your makeup on, you want to set it one more time. I hope this helped. If it did, please click that heart button to show me that you love me. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to click like and subscribe. God bless you. Take care and have a great weekend.